All right. Hi, everybody. We are now live with our second session of the day, How to Thrive in College. My name is Vince Lowry. I'm the Director of Student Success and Engagement. And as everybody who knows me has heard me say, success might be in the title of my position, but I don't like the word. I would much rather prefer it if my title was the Director of Student Thriving and Engagement. I don't like the word success because I think it focuses on outcomes. I'm process driven. I prefer the word thriving because it's action oriented. Too often we get caught up in outcomes. We don't focus enough on the steps we need to take in order to get there, which is why we have a session not about how to be successful in college, but how to thrive in college, those steps that you can take in order to maximize your experience this coming year at UWGB. So we have a group of student ambassadors, one of whom is also a peer mentor this coming fall, or this coming year. We might have a few more people kind of popping in. We'll wait and see. We had a full slate of panelists. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go around and we're just going to work through the group. I'm going to ask them to offer some insights into what was the key for them in their first year at UWGB, how they thrived in that environment. And then once we go through, we will then kind of follow up. As I told them before we hopped in, it's going to kind of be like jazz. We're just kind of play off of each other. We'll see how the beat sounds. We'll just work through it. The key is by the time this session ends, you feel like you've got some ideas you can put into practice in your first year at GB. So since Asia's with me for the second time, she was with me on the earlier panel today. I'm gonna let her kick things off. So give me just a minute. We're still figuring out Microsoft Live.
Hello again. I said this in the last session too, but my first year was kind of a weird one. I started off in nursing and I was between two different schools, and it really took a lot for me to find my own success. I had to learn to rely on more people than just myself, because you can rely on yourself. It's a good thing to rely on yourself, but it's also a good thing to have other people to rely on, because there are some things you won't be able to do by yourself in life. And so something that really helped me was finding those good support systems to rely on, being able to budget myself when I needed to, because, oh yeah, eating food is a very good thing to thrive in college. And yeah, find those support systems that you need and eat food, because staying healthy is going to keep you running. If you don't stay healthy, if you don't eat, you got to drink water. You're going to lose your energy throughout half the day, and then you won't be able to get through all the things you need to get through the day.
I'm just going to warn everybody, I might disappear all of a sudden. My voice might disappear. As the panelists know, my laptop has decided I should not get through the end of the day, that I should I should bail out of these. It's not intentional. It's just the battery does not want to last. So Ben was next on my list here, so I'm going to send Ben live to the platform and let him go ahead and share his insights.
For sure. Yeah, when I look back at freshman year, I feel like I've always been a very deliberate person. And what I mean by that is when I'm focusing on things, whether it's classwork or my relationships when I'm in college, is just kind of put a lot of focus into those things. If you do everything with like half effort or do anything without that full the drive that it needs, then you can really give your focus on that. That also keeps you from, stretching yourself too thin. If it's your classes or the clubs that you're joining or the connections that you're making with your peers, it all comes down to when you're in that moment, just kind of giving them your full attention. When you come to a class or log into one online on 9:30 on a Monday, just make sure that your mind is there. There's this thing that they say, the ambassadors, is to kind of leave everything at the door. Like, we all know that there's a lot of crazy things going on in our lives that kind of go there. But once you get to a moment where we're working, we just, for the next hour and a half or whatever time we're there, we just want to give that dedication to the task we have at hand. And as long as you do that, it's a little less overwhelming because it's not this list going on in your head of things you got to do. It's, I'm going to take care of this. And then as my day goes on, I'll have these things and the time to take care of that as well. Yeah.
Right. I think Vince may have froze up on us. So I was waiting in the wings to hop in. Hi, everyone. I'm Adam Novotny. So thank you, Ben, for sharing your insight on being able to thrive and exactly your experience. Next, let's move to Katarina to share your experience on how you thrived when you were here in your first experience at UWGB.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk about it. I had a really awesome freshman year. And when I was thinking about how to like summarize my freshman year into 3 things, I kind of like made a list of 3 things of how to thrive in college. And I think number 1 is getting involved. I was involved like right away as a freshman because when I was in high school, I was really involved with a lot of things and I wanted to have that same camaraderie with other students, and just like the busy schedule, I wanted to keep that. So I did that when I was in college as well. So I actually overbooked myself and was part of like way too many things, and I kind of stressed myself out at times. But I would recommend starting out with like 1 club for sure. And if you can do really cool things with that 1 club, maybe add another club, or if it's too much, take a step back and maybe do it next semester or something like that. So getting involved is really important because you meet a ton of really awesome people and you make a ton of connections that carry you through the rest of your college career, which I think is really cool. So that kind of went into my second point, but the second point is making connections with people. And I think when I was a freshman, I made it a point to meet someone new every single day, or at least try to talk to somebody every single day that I didn't really know before. And at the end of my freshman year, I knew so many different students, and different students knew me from like intramurals or different classes or different clubs I was in or everything, so that you can like pass them in the hallway and be like, hi, how are you doing? And it's very genuine and people really want to get to know you. So making connections is also very important. And then the third one that I think I lived off of was the schedule. I really rely on a schedule and a routine. So I got a schedule and I got like a calendar, I think from like Office Depot or something like that, and basically like planned out my day so that if there was a moment during the day that I wasn't sure what I was supposed to be doing, I could look at my schedule and be like, oh, okay, like this time is for studying this if I wasn't in class or something like that. And I think especially now with everything being virtual, a schedule is very important just so that you can plan out your day and you can fit in things, kind of what they were talking about in the Rockstar keynote thing, planning out things that you've never done before. Like I want to get better at doing piano this semester, so I'm going to set aside a certain time to just do piano stuff. So making a schedule is also very important. So those are the 3 things that I kind of thought about from my freshman year that really helped me out, and I hope you guys can apply the same.
Thank you, Katarina. So our last panelist that we'll have here sharing their experience is Amanda Rosado. So Amanda, could you please tell us more about your experience and how you began to thrive here at UWGB?
All right, thank you for having me. Katarina, you said it so well. My experiences are very similar to yours. I think definitely the one point that I want to make is connections. Connections are such a beautiful thing, not only to get extra resources, but to connect you to other things. When I refer to UW Green Bay, I always call it like a spider web of resources and connections that you can make. So being a part of the student ambassadors, I made so many connections there that have led me to join clubs that some of my fellow student ambassadors are in, and just kind of make those connections there and also try new things. I love how Katarina said it. When I came to UW Green Bay, I was super shy and I was super scared that I wasn't going to make a lot of friends. I was the only person from my high school to come to UW Green Bay. And I came here, but I wanted to make it just a complete fresh start. I didn't volunteer a lot in my high school, so I wanted to make a very big point to volunteer in college. And so I made those connections by going to OrgSmorg, checking out clubs. And like Katarina said, don't add on too much at once. I did the same thing. I joined like 3 clubs my freshman year, and I was like, okay, maybe I need to, prioritize the ones that I really want to work with. And also one other point is that I, during my entire freshman year, always felt bad if I took time to take care of myself, or if I went out with friends and maybe I should have been doing homework or could have been studying extra. Of course, those things are important, but if I learned very quickly that if you go through the entire semester, you'll get a huge burnout. So please take care of yourself, block out times to hang out with friends, go to the events on campus, and just take time for you. I always felt bad going out with my friends, but it's always a really beautiful thing to just get together. Even if you're just relaxing, you could always do homework with them too. Study groups have been a blessing for me, just getting and making those connections in class and getting together off campus with them or on campus with them and doing homework while also having fun. You can kill 2 birds with one stone, having fun and getting your education. So definitely take time for yourself and take care of yourself for sure.
Thank you, Amanda. And thank you to those who are joining us live here for the session. It is and it can function as a Q&A feature. So there is a bubble in the top right of your screen that has a question mark. If you click on that, you can type in any questions that you may have for our panelists, and we'll be happy to ask them, and they can give you some of their experience. Until those questions come in, one that a number of you talked about was those resources and getting connected there. So are there any resources in particular that you got connected with and that was really important to you in how you thrived? Ben, could we start with you?
There we go. Yeah, for sure. I think one of the biggest resources we have is staff. Outside of staff, it's just professors in general. You learn really quickly that professors are awesome and they actually really want you to do well, and it makes them happy when you do well. And that's just a really big thing. I read this study right coming into freshman year that if you sit in the front 2 rows, you have a better chance of getting a good grade in the class. And beyond that, just the relationship with the professor was the driving force behind that. A lot of my opportunities that I got in internships or research internships wouldn't have happened if I didn't have a relationship with the professor. For example, I worked on a Camp Lloyd experience this past summer where we worked on a camp for kids that were dealing with grief or bereavement. And that was something that really directly relates to what I want to do in psychology. And I would have never known about this experience if I hadn't sat in the front row, if I hadn't, had my little back and forth professor throughout the days, making jokes with her back and forth, letting her make fun of me a little bit because some professors do that and it's just a good time. And yeah, it's just kind of having that personal relationship with them that can be a driving force of your success in and outside of the classroom.
Thanks, Ben. Asia, is there anything that you'd like to add or share about resources that were important to you?
Yeah, something that I've tended to use a lot were inside the student union, the different office spaces set for for students. I spent a lot of my time freshman year just inside the multi-ethnic student affairs office and the student life office. And inside those offices, I met a lot of advisors. I met a lot of people like Adam who were there for me whenever I just needed somebody to talk to, whenever I needed to make friends. They were always there for me. And a lot of my friends now were people that I met inside those offices. And it's really a good space to go if you just need to relax, if you just need to distress. It's a good place to eat food. And I'm still learning how to eat food nowadays. I get yelled at for it. You need to eat food, guys. But yeah, there are always spaces on campus where you can sit and you can meet friends. When you meet those good friends that you have in your life, you will be set.
Thank you, Asia. Katarina, how about you? Any resources that were really important for you that you'd like to share? After unmuting.
I'm unmuted. I totally agree with Ben that making connections with your professors is very, very important. I know my freshman year with my biology class, which was kind of a bigger class coming in as a freshman, I think there was over like 75 students in the class, which is much bigger than the normal like class size at Green Bay. I thought that, I mean, I sat at the front row too, but it was like me just kind of sitting there. I don't know if I like purposely sat in the front. But I was surprised on how, like I was pleasantly surprised on how my professor, her name's Carly Kibbe, how she was so genuine and so like wanting to get to know her students. And it was like really, really welcoming. And I thought it was really, really awesome. And there was one time when like after class, I was really unsure of material and I went to her office hours and she literally was like, oh, so like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And we like went to this whole conversation and I ended up leaving her office hours that day with an internship. And I was just like, what the heck? This is awesome. I was not expecting this whatsoever. And it just kind of was like, yes, office hours are really awesome and they're a really great resource. So going with your professors going to your professors is really, really important. And the relationships you make is really important as well. Another thing that I think is really cool that I used a lot was Learning Center. That's on campus. It's in the library. It's free to students, which I think is really, really cool. And you can go there for pretty much every subject that you're in. I think I went there a few times for my chemistry class when I was a freshman, and there was just some times when I was not completely sure what was happening or there was material that I wanted to go over, and the people who are tutors are people who've taken the class previously, so they know what the professor expects. They know how to like teach material that maybe the professor covered that just needed to be taught in a different way so you can understand it. I definitely used that a few times and it was very, very helpful. And you like can schedule an appointment and talk to a tutor and just kind of get your questions answered, and you can be on your way. And I used it multiple times for chemistry at least, and I was very, very helpful. It was very, very helpful, and I was happy that I used it. So that's another resource for sure.
All right, thanks, Katarina. Amanda, could you bring it home here and tell us about some of those resources that were really important to you as you were thriving?
Yes, I'd love to. My second semester of my freshman year, I joined a sorority, Kappa Beta Gamma, and I think that was an incredible resource for me because the second semester of my freshman year is when I really started to make friends. My first semester, I really wanted to focus on my education. I was a first-generation student, and I was really scared that I was not going to do so well in college, so I focused on my studies. But when I joined my sorority, I gained 50 sisters, and not only have they been a resource to me to wind down, relax, and have fun, and just make a whole new bunch of friends. One of my sisters helped me get into my social work program. We have so many different majors in our sorority, and they are so willing to help get into programs or help with other classes. We make study groups out of our sorority just for specific classes that we might share. So that's really helped, just going to study hours with them and being able to have fun and also focus on studies is really awesome. But one of my sisters sat down with me and helped me with the application process to get into the program, and I got in, and I was very grateful for her to read over it and make sure I was all good since she has been through it before. So not only joining clubs is fun to do, it can also help you in your classes and for your program or your major that you're in. There's always somebody that can help you or somebody that knows somebody that can help you. So that's one resource I've really been grateful for.
Thanks, Amanda. I think next, and feel free to have those questions coming in, everyone. So this spring, you all went through a bit of a transition of going from in-person classes and then transitioning to online quite suddenly. So what was that experience like for you, and how did you thrive and get through that? And maybe what advice would you have for students who now have a number of online courses that they're going to be having this fall? Let's start in the middle, and can we start with you, Katarina?
Yeah, of course. So definitely changing from in-person classes to online classes was definitely an adjustment, and it came by, I think, by surprise for a lot of us, because I was definitely hoping that we were going to be on campus for like the rest of the semester. I know that there was other schools that were like turning online, and I was like, nah, we'll be okay. And then it came and I was like, no, but it actually ended up being a lot better than I thought. I was worried because I'm a human bio major, so I was worried about my labs. I was worried about exams going online, and a lot of different things, just like any other student would in any other major. But I was very happy with how my professors handled everything, and I'm assuming other majors and on this call too can like agree with that. But they were very dedicated. Every single one of them were very dedicated in making sure that the transition was as smooth as possible. And they were wanting feedback all the time to see how things were going. They were checking in. I had professors email me about how the course was going, how I thought things were going, and if I wanted to change anything, what should be changed. So they were really open to people's opinions, and they were open to students' experiences. And I was very happy how things worked out. And I was just, it was kind of a different like setting. It was not exactly how, I mean, obviously you're going from having in-class classes to being behind your desk in your dorm or at home. And that was definitely different. But going back to my thing with like the schedule, having the schedule was very important to me because then it could keep me on track, and it like wouldn't allow me to be doing homework like all day, instead of like it was helping me break up my time so that I wasn't just focusing on one thing instead of another thing. But I was very impressed on how Green Bay like transitioned in I think that 10-day period. But like coming in as a junior now in fall, they had a long time this summer to prep. And so it's even going to be a better experience this fall, I think, too.
Thanks, Katarina. Amanda, let's move to you and talk about your experience from this past spring.
Yay! Once again, Katarina, you said it beautifully. I think it definitely went better than I thought it would. I mean, if you're thinking about it, of course, us as students didn't expect the transition, but also the professors didn't expect it. And they were very dedicated, like Katarina said, and they were very understanding. I utilized office hours just like I normally would for a regular lecture class. So if an assignment was due on a Friday and the professor had office hours on Wednesday, I would get my homework done before that period so that I could have that extra time to go to the office hours in case I needed any clarifications at all. And there were so many surveys sent out to us. How is everything going? Would you like a different supplemental information? How are you understanding the course? So they were very, very honest with us. Like I had a lot of professors email us saying, hey, we're not that tech savvy, just be patient, work with us. And, it's a two-way street. We just really were understanding on both sides, and it just went really smooth. And like Katarina said, they had so much time to refine it and redo their coursework and the course plan. So I'm very, very confident for this semester. Like I said, there's so many resources at UW Green Bay. It's just a huge spider web. Never be afraid to email your professor. That's what they're there for. They want to see you thrive. It's just you putting in your part as well.
Thanks, Amanda. Asia, would you like to share about your experience?
Man, I hate to bring down the mood. I had such a rough go at it, guys. When it first hit, I actually went home with one of my friends instead because there were some guidelines about traveling out of state. And since I'm actually from Illinois, I didn't think I had that opportunity to go back home. And that's something that's a really scary thought. It was a really scary thought for me. And once they sent out the emails of, hey, everybody, we want you to go home, but if you can't go home, you can stay on campus. And so those students who actually couldn't go home had that opportunity to stay on campus. But I went and packed my stuff up and I left. And once I got home, I felt a lot better. But it was also that huge switch because for a theater major, a lot of our work is hands-on. Like we thrive off of an audience, we thrive off of the hands-on work and working with our cohorts. And it was a difficult transition for me because I went from every Tuesday and Thursday going to jazz class. Every Saturday I had to turn in a paper, which is something I'm not used to. And it's something that I really had to find a way to cope with. And I had to set aside time now to actually look things up and go through more research. And I had to figure out all those resources of how I'm going to research all this information. And for like my acting class, that had to be online too. And you can't actually do a scene over Zoom because there's going to be those pauses, those awkward pauses, those I can't call for a line through a camera. And it's all based on experience. And for me, I'm not really good at online classes, and so it's something that I actually have to work on for myself. And I'm doing better at it, but it's not my go-to when I want to learn. But with the situation going on, I understand that these things need to happen, and so yeah.
It'll just make you stronger in the end.
I didn't know. I'm so sad. I brought down the mood, guys. It's gonna be great.
No, you're good.
No, I think, from what Asia's sharing, it's definitely real. It wasn't the smoothest thing for everyone, but we were all in it together to work on it. I think Asia, as you talked about, continuing to work on yourself and knowing that we're in this situation and it's about how you can continue to thrive through it, and knowing that there's supports in place to be able to work through that as well. So appreciate you talking about it. It's not all the rainbows and sunshine and whatnot. There are challenges that come with it, that's for sure, but that people are here to help. Ben, could you, wrap up and tell us more about your experience?
For sure. And yeah, I can definitely empathize with like what Asia dealt with. It definitely was like a transitional process. And I think over the course of the few weeks, I'd say it went from chaotically organized to more of a organized chaos. I appreciated how it kind of, things fell into place as time went on and things got easier. We get into our routines. I'm a very routine-based person. So when I was in college, what I would do is, I'd have this where my classes are. This is the time as I have to eat. This is the time I'll be working. This is when I'll go to the crest and work out. So that kind of changed into, well, now I'm home and now I have this desk I have to set up and I have these classes, these slots that I need to fit in where to do things. And I felt like once I got into that, I felt a lot more comfortable. And throughout the rest of the semester, I would spend time in my classes or meeting with professors. I don't have a crest anymore, so I'd be on the treadmill or whatnot, doing stuff like that. And it just kind of turned into a routine. And I feel like there's a lot of comfort in routine if you can know what to expect, you can know what's in front of you. And obviously you can't prepare for anything, but you can prepare how you react to it. And if you are consistent in the way you deal with things, then it gets easier to handle, I would say.
Yeah, I see Asia.
Can I just say it's okay to cry? Because I cried a lot during COVID, and it's a good way to cope. I mean, you gotta let all your emotion out at some point. It's not good if you hold everything in. So a good cry every once in a while is good for you.
Absolutely. And it goes to my last thing as we're wrapping up here, just with a few minutes to spare, of what's a final piece of advice that you maybe haven't already shared that you would like people to know. Maybe it's something that you didn't think of or didn't know at that time when you started, but now you wish you would have known back then. And we don't have to start with you, Asia. I can start with someone else. Any volunteers? All right. Ben, we'll go to you.
Just breathe. Like, things get chaotic, and college is like you are now in a situation where you're in control of your life and the things that are going on. You have all this freedom, and if you just take the time to reflect on like little battles or little victories throughout the road, you can look back 2 years later or 3 years later, and you'll see, yeah, I'm a different person than I was 2 years ago, and I'm proud of that. And it didn't happen overnight. It happened from individual things that you conquered and demons that you're able to, deal with. And as the days go on, you become a different person. And if you just reflect on that a little bit, you can appreciate what was the word Ben said, thriving, instead of like the success, because that's big.
Katarina.
Yeah, I have two things. But first of all is have fun. College is a really fun experience, and you just have to like live it. It's just a really cool experience. So having fun is definitely very, very important, because obviously college can be kind of stressful, but there are a ton of like really fun things that happen in college that are really fun, and the people you meet and the things that you do is just really, really awesome. The other one is like more of life advice, but living in the moment. I'm a huge planner, so I'm constantly like planning for the future and planning for classes next semester or like down the road in grad school or something like that. And I sometimes like stress myself out because I'm just like, I'm not sure if I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing right now, and I sometimes forget what I'm doing right now. And it's like when I was in high school, I just wanted to go to college, and now that I'm in college, I'm just like, I just want to go to grad school. So it's just like you need to live the life that you're living right now and just really have fun with it and live in the moment, because it's not going to be long and it's going to be gone. So living in the moment, having fun is definitely my closing pieces, I would say.
All right, thank you. And we'll jump to Amanda next.
Yay. One thing that I really want to say is don't have any preconceived notions about anything. You may be scared for online classes or scared to join a new club or scared to make friends, but just have an open mind. I think that's like the best piece of advice, is being open-minded. If you would have told me I would do all of these things that I'm doing now in high school, I'd be like, what? No, I'm too scared to do that. Like, be an ambassador and be a leader. And I would have never imagined that, like, growing so fast in such a small span. But yeah, be open, have an open mind about everything. You may not be very excited to have a good portion of your classes online or having clubs and events online, but you can learn from it, you can grow from it, you can still make connections just as well. So just have fun, like I said, and take care of yourself. But just remember, it's not forever. All of this online stuff, you will get right into it, and we will be back on campus having a ton of fun. But for now, it'll just look slightly different.
Thanks, Amanda. And Asia, last thoughts.
All right. When I was a freshman, I was very shy, very awkward, and it took a lot for me to get out of my bubble. And when I became an ambassador, we had to write down a quote on our note cards. And the quote that I wrote down it's an original quote, and it says, "If you spend your life trying to glow like others, you'll never find your own sparkle." And that's something that I kind of live by right now, because when I was younger, I tended to follow the crowd and to do what everybody else did and not make any decisions for myself because I was too afraid to step out and do anything on my own. But once you get to this point in your life, you realize that you can only be yourself. You can't be anybody else, because that's not who you are. And once you find out who you are, you'll be able to sparkle in your own most magical personal way. And let me tell you, it's a wonderful feeling. Oh, thanks for the snaps, guys.
Audience may not have gotten to see, but there were some snaps, which meant props to Asia for sharing that. So thank you to all of our panelists, Amanda, Katarina, Asia, and Ben, for joining us. And thank you to all of you for joining us too for this live event. Hopefully you got to gain some real great insight from some current students about how to thrive, learning about how you can thrive here at UWGB, and know that there are a lot of resources out there. There are students, just like who were here on the panel, who are happy to talk to you about their experiences. There's staff, there's faculty, there's just a number of resources. We're looking for you to thrive. And as Asia said, we're looking for you to sparkle here at UWGB. So thank you once again. We hope you have a great rest of your GB Welcome experience, and you have a great fall semester and GB career. Thank you once again for joining us, and have a great day.